What happens to my private area when I stop having sex for a long period of time? What happens to a man's penis when he stops having sex for a period of time? What happens to a woman's vagina when she stops having sex for a period of time? Hi there. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. Today, we'll dive deep into what happens to your body when you stop having sex for an extended period. This is something that both men and women can experience, and there are some common myths floating around about this topic that I'd like to clear up. There are many reasons why someone might stop having sex. It could be a personal choice due to religious beliefs, emotional trauma, health reasons, or insecurity. Whatever the reason, it's important to know that if you're single and not having sex, there is nothing wrong with you. This video isn't about promoting promiscuity, but rather understanding the changes the body might experience. Remember, I advocate for sex within marriage because of its emotional, physical, and spiritual benefits. Before we dive into what happens to your body during long periods without sex, let's first address a few myths and fallacies. For men, 1. Penis shrinking. There's a common misconception that your penis will shrink if you don't have sex for a long time. This isn't true. Your penis length remains the same, although some changes in erection strength might occur. 2. Erectile dysfunction. Another false belief is that men develop erectile dysfunction, ED, simply from not having sex. If you didn't have ED before, abstinence won't cause it. ED is related to health conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and psychological factors like stress. 3. One-minute man syndrome. There's also a fear that after abstinence, a man might become a one-minute man who climaxes too quickly. While sexual stamina can be affected by factors such as stress and lack of sexual activity, this issue usually corrects itself once regular sexual activity resumes. For women, 1. Regrowing the hymen. Some people think that if a woman doesn't have sex for a long time, her hymen will regrow. This is a myth. The hymen, once torn, does not regenerate, regardless of how long you abstain. 2. Vagina tightening. There's also a belief that abstaining from sex can make a woman's vagina tighter. While muscles in the pelvic area may relax over time, this doesn't mean the vagina closes or becomes permanently smaller. 3. Vaginal closure. Another myth is that if a woman doesn't have sex for a long time, her vagina will close up. This is simply not possible. The vagina remains open because it's used for menstruation and childbirth. It's not something that can just close or seal off. Now, let's talk about what happens to men and women when they stop having sex for a long time. For men, 1. Morning erections. It's essential for men to have regular morning erections, also called morning wood. This is a good indicator of penile health. If a man stops having sex for a while but continues to have morning erections, it's a sign that his sexual health is still good. 2. Changes in erection length. One noticeable change is that a man's erection might seem shorter during periods of abstinence. While the overall length of your penis doesn't change, the strength and length of your erection may vary. This is because sexual activity helps keep the tissues in the penis flexible. Once regular sexual activity resumes, the erection length usually returns to normal. 3. Decreased sensitivity. You may notice that your penis becomes less sensitive if you stop having sex for a long time. The head of the penis, in particular, may feel less responsive. This reduced sensitivity is normal and will return once you resume sexual activity. 4. Orgasm changes. After a long period without sex, your orgasms may feel different. Some men might have shorter orgasms, while others might experience longer, more intense ones. This variation is normal and tends to stabilize after a few sexual experiences. For women, 1. Decreased libido. When a woman stops having sex for a long time, her libido, or sex drive, might decrease. This is normal and is tied to hormones such as estrogen and testosterone, which regulate sexual desire. Once sexual activity resumes, libido typically returns to its previous levels. 2. Vaginal elasticity. The vagina is naturally elastic, like a rubber band. During periods of sexual inactivity, the vaginal tissues may become less stretchy. This is more noticeable for women going through menopause, as estrogen levels drop, affecting the tissue's elasticity. However, just like with men, once sexual activity resumes, the elasticity of the vagina is restored. 3. Penetration sensitivity. After a long time without sex, the first few times can feel a bit uncomfortable for some women. This is due to the vaginal muscles becoming less used to the sensation of penetration. However, this discomfort is usually temporary. Unlike vaginismus, which causes pain during sex due to muscle tightness, the mild discomfort from abstinence is more of a temporary sensation. 4. Orgasm delay. Similar to men, women may find it takes longer to reach orgasm after a long period of abstinence. This is normal, and with time and comfort with your partner, orgasm times tend to return to normal. It's not just the body that experiences changes during long periods without sex. Abstinence can also have mental and emotional effects. For both men and women. 1. Increased anxiety or tension. Some people feel anxious or tense when they first return to sexual activity after a long break. This can be due to performance anxiety, fear of intimacy, or simply being out of practice. It helps to have sex with a partner whom you trust and feel emotionally connected to. 2. Emotional bonding. Sex creates a bond between partners. For women, in particular, the hormone oxytocin, often called the love hormone, is released during orgasm. This hormone helps create a sense of trust and closeness with a partner. When you go without sex for a long time, this emotional connection might feel a little weaker. 3. Self-esteem and body image. Abstaining from sex can lead some people to feel insecure about their bodies or their desirability. It's important to remember that sexual inactivity doesn't diminish your worth. Once you start being intimate again, any self-esteem issues can improve with positive experiences. Let's take a quick look at some scientific insights about how sex affects your overall health. Endorphin release. During sexual activity, the brain releases chemicals called endorphins, which help improve mood and reduce stress. When you stop having sex, you miss out on these mood-boosting effects, but there are other ways to get them, such as exercise. Immune system boost. Research shows that regular sexual activity can boost your immune system by increasing levels of immunoglobulin A, IgA, an antibody that helps fight off infections. While going without sex doesn't weaken your immune system, regular sex can certainly give it a healthy boost. Cardiovascular health. Sexual activity can be good for your heart. It increases heart rate, improves circulation, and burns calories. That said, regular physical exercise can also maintain heart health if you're not sexually active. Sleep quality. Many people report better sleep after sex, thanks to the release of hormones like prolactin and oxytocin. These hormones promote relaxation and help you fall asleep faster. If you stop having sex, you may need to find other relaxation techniques to maintain good sleep. Hormones play a huge role in our sexual health and overall well-being. Understanding how hormones like testosterone and estrogen impact both men and women can shed light on what happens during periods of abstinence. For men, testosterone. This is the key hormone that drives a man's libido and overall sexual health. Testosterone levels naturally fluctuate with age, but they can also be affected by other factors such as stress, poor diet, lack of exercise, and, believe it or not, sexual activity. Studies have shown that regular sexual activity can actually help maintain healthy testosterone levels. But don't worry, taking a break from sex won't cause a dramatic drop in testosterone. Other activities like exercise, particularly weight training, can help keep testosterone levels stable during times of abstinence. Prolactin. After a man has an orgasm, prolactin is released in the brain, which is responsible for the feeling of relaxation and satisfaction after sex. It's also linked to the refractory period, the time a man needs before he can be aroused again. During periods of abstinence, men may notice that they feel less of this immediate relaxation, but prolactin levels will normalize once sexual activity resumes. For women, estrogen. Estrogen is a primary hormone in women that plays a critical role in regulating the menstrual cycle and maintaining the health of reproductive organs. When women stop having sex, their estrogen levels may remain stable, but some may notice shifts depending on other life factors. For example, as women approach menopause, estrogen levels begin to decrease, which can affect libido, vaginal dryness, and overall sexual satisfaction. Even for younger women, stress and lifestyle can cause slight fluctuations in estrogen, influencing sex drive. Oxytocin. Known as the love hormone, oxytocin is released during intimate moments, particularly during sex. It helps to create bonds between partners, making emotional connections feel stronger. In periods of abstinence, women may feel less emotionally connected due to the decrease in oxytocin release. This can affect mood and mental health. However, oxytocin can also be released during other intimate moments, like cuddling, holding hands, or even during breastfeeding for new mothers. It's not just the physical body that reacts to periods of abstinence. Your mental and emotional well-being can also be affected. Here are some common psychological effects experienced by both men and women during prolonged abstinence. Mental clarity and focus. Many people who choose to abstain from sex, particularly for religious or personal reasons, report feeling a heightened sense of mental clarity and focus. Without the distractions that sometimes accompany physical intimacy, individuals might feel they can channel their energy into personal development, professional goals, or creative pursuits. This is why some people practice abstinence intentionally for certain periods in their lives, not as a permanent state, but as a temporary measure to focus on other areas of growth. Self-esteem and confidence. For some, abstaining from sex can lead to a positive boost in self-esteem, particularly if their decision is rooted in personal choice or values. However, for others, abstinence, especially when it's unintentional or caused by external factors like lack of a partner, can result in decreased self-esteem or feelings of insecurity. It's important to remind yourself that your worth isn't tied to sexual activity. If you find that your self-image is suffering due to abstinence, it might help to focus on other forms of self-care, such as exercising, engaging in hobbies, or connecting emotionally with friends and family. Anxiety and nervousness about returning to sex. As discussed earlier, returning to sexual activity after a long break can be nerve-wracking. Men may worry about performance, while women might feel anxious about discomfort or emotional intimacy. This anxiety can make the first few experiences of returning to sex feel more awkward than enjoyable. It's important to approach these situations with patience, understanding, and clear communication with your partner. Remember, it's perfectly normal to feel nervous, and over time, this anxiety will likely decrease as you grow more comfortable with your partner and yourself. Changes in sexual desire. While some people experience a decrease in sexual desire after abstaining for a long time, others may notice an increase in their libido. Sexual desire is complex and can be influenced by a variety of factors, including stress, emotional connection with a partner, and even your body's natural cycles. Some individuals report experiencing stronger sexual urges after long periods of abstinence, which might be the body's way of signaling the need for intimacy and connection. Others find that they become more focused on non-sexual forms of intimacy, such as emotional bonding or physical affection that doesn't involve sex. While much of the discussion focuses on what changes in the body when you stop having sex, it's also important to highlight that there are some potential health benefits associated with abstinence, especially when it's a conscious choice. Reduced risk of sexually transmitted infections, STIs. One of the most obvious benefits of abstaining from sex is the reduced risk of contracting sexually transmitted infections. Even with protection, there is always some risk of exposure to STIs when engaging in sexual activity. By choosing abstinence, individuals effectively eliminate this risk. Emotional and mental clarity. As mentioned earlier, abstaining from sex can provide emotional and mental clarity. Without the emotional highs and lows that often accompany physical relationships, some people feel more centered, less stressed, and better able to focus on personal goals. Physical health benefits. While sex can be beneficial for cardiovascular health, abstinence can also offer physical health benefits. For example, some people experience fewer urinary tract infections, UTIs, when abstaining from sex, as sexual activity can sometimes trigger these infections, especially in women. Additionally, people who abstain from sex often report fewer interruptions in their sleep patterns, since they aren't experiencing the physiological changes that come with sexual activity. Spiritual and moral benefits. For those who choose abstinence for religious or moral reasons, the emotional and spiritual benefits can be significant. Many people feel a sense of personal integrity and moral satisfaction when they align their actions with their values. This sense of inner peace can contribute to overall mental and emotional well-being. When someone returns to sexual activity after a long period of abstinence, the body might go through an adjustment phase. Here's a deeper look at what to expect. Physical sensations. As mentioned, women may notice some discomfort the first few times they engage in sexual activity after a long period of abstinence. This is often due to the vaginal tissues becoming less elastic. While the vagina is incredibly flexible, it benefits from regular sexual activity, which helps maintain blood flow and muscle tone in the area. With time, and through gentle reintroduction of sexual activity, the vagina's elasticity will typically return. For men, the physical challenge often lies in adjusting to the sensations of sexual activity again. Erections may feel different, and orgasms may be either quicker or delayed. Just like with women, these changes are temporary and will stabilize as sexual activity becomes more regular. Emotional reconnect ion. Emotional intimacy is just as important as physical intimacy, especially when returning to sex after a long break. Couples who have abstained for a while might feel emotionally distant or disconnected. It's essential to take time to rebuild emotional trust and connection, which can often be the foundation for a satisfying sexual relationship. Even if you're not sexually active, there are ways to maintain your sexual health. Here are a few practical tips. Pelvic floor exercises, Kegels. Whether you're male or female, strengthening your pelvic floor muscles through exercises like Kegels can help maintain sexual health. These muscles support the bladder, bowel, and reproductive organs, and they play a critical role in sexual function. For women, Kegel exercises can help maintain vaginal tone, which can improve sexual satisfaction once you return to sexual activity. For men, strong pelvic floor muscles can help with maintaining erections and preventing premature ejaculation. Regular physical activity. Staying active is not only good for your overall health, but it's also great for your sexual health. Regular exercise improves blood flow throughout the body, including to the sexual organs. It can also help manage stress, improve body image, and increase energy levels, all factors that contribute to a healthy sex life, even if you're currently abstinent. Good nutrition. A healthy diet plays an essential role in maintaining sexual health. Certain nutrients like zinc, omega-3 fatty acids, and antioxidants are particularly important for sexual function. Zinc, for example, supports testosterone production in men and can help maintain libido in women. Omega-3s are essential for good cardiovascular health, which in turn promotes good blood flow, critical for sexual arousal in both men and women. Whether you're choosing to abstain from sex for personal reasons or preparing to re-engage in sexual activity after a long period of time, communication with your partner is key. Here's how you can navigate these conversations. Be honest about your feelings. When discussing abstinence, it's important to be open about why you're choosing this path. Are you doing it for personal, religious, or health reasons? Do you feel like you need a break from sexual activity to focus on other parts of your relationship or personal life? Being upfront will help your partner understand your decision and create space for a healthy, respectful dialogue. On the other hand, if you're preparing to return to sexual activity, honesty about any anxieties, concerns, or excitement is crucial. Talk about what you're feeling, whether it's nervousness about discomfort, fear of performance issues, or excitement about reconnecting physically. This kind of transparency will make the process much smoother. Set boundaries and expectations. When you're in a relationship, especially a long-term one, it's important to set boundaries when it comes to sex. If you're abstaining, let your partner know what you're comfortable with in terms of physical intimacy and what actions might be off limits. This helps to avoid misunderstandings and ensures that both people are on the same page. If you're resuming sexual activity, it's equally important to set expectations. Communicate that it may take time to adjust and that there's no pressure to perform perfectly the first few times. Being clear about expectations, including emotional support, will make the experience much more comfortable for both you and your partner. Support each other emotionally. Abstinence, especially if it's a personal choice or due to external circumstances like health or long distance, can be emotionally challenging. Both partners should provide emotional support, practicing patience and understanding. If you're returning to sexual activity, it's natural for both partners to experience a range of emotions, from excitement to anxiety, and supporting each other through this process is key to building trust and intimacy. There are numerous myths surrounding abstinence, many of which were addressed earlier in the video. Let's take a deeper dive into some of the most common misconceptions about abstaining from sex. Your body forgets how to have sex. Truth. While it's true that abstaining from sex for a long time may result in some changes in your sexual response, like reduced sensitivity or longer time to reach orgasm, your body doesn't forget how to have sex. Sex is a natural part of human life, and your body will adjust when you return to it. If you find yourself experiencing difficulties, especially related to arousal or reaching climax, it's important to be patient with yourself and understand that it's part of the process. Men will develop erectile dysfunction, ED. Truth. Abstinence does not directly cause erectile dysfunction. While long periods of abstinence can lead to some changes in erection strength or arousal response, these changes are temporary. As mentioned earlier, as long as men continue to experience morning erections, it's a good sign of healthy sexual function. If a man was already experiencing issues with ED before abstaining, those issues will likely continue until addressed by a healthcare professional. Abstinence alone is not a cause of ED. The vagina closes up without sex. Truth. The idea that a woman's vagina can close up after long periods without sex is a myth. The vagina is an elastic organ designed to expand and contract, and it does not shut or close off due to lack of sexual activity. While some women may experience a slight decrease in elasticity or lubrication after a long period of abstinence, these changes are normal and will typically return to normal with regular sexual activity. Abstinence causes women to lose their ability to orgasm. Truth. Abstinence does not cause a woman to lose her ability to orgasm. However, it might take longer for her to reach orgasm when returning to sexual activity after a long break. This is usually because of the need to re-establish physical and emotional connections, as well as adjusting to the sensations of sex again. With time and patience, most women will find their orgasmic response returns to normal. If you're in a relationship and practicing abstinence, whether for religious, personal, or health reasons, it doesn't mean that intimacy has to disappear. Intimacy can be expressed in many ways that don't involve sexual activity. Here are a few ideas. Emotional intimacy. Deepening emotional intimacy can strengthen a relationship even when physical intimacy is limited. Sharing your thoughts, feelings, and experiences with your partner creates a deeper bond. Having meaningful conversations, expressing affection through words, and simply spending quality time together are great ways to maintain emotional closeness. Physical affection. Even without sex, there are plenty of ways to be physically affectionate with your partner. Holding hands, hugging, cuddling, and giving massages are all ways to maintain physical closeness. These actions can release oxytocin, the love hormone, which helps create feelings of connection and trust. Non-sexual physical activities. Engaging in activities that promote teamwork and trust, like dancing, working out together, or even cooking as a couple, can increase both emotional and physical intimacy. These activities help maintain a close bond and remind you of the positive aspects of your relationship beyond physical sex. If you're finding abstinence difficult, or if returning to sexual activity after a long period is causing distress, it's okay to seek professional help. Sexual health is an important part of overall well-being, and there's no shame in asking for guidance. When abstinence becomes emotionally or mentally straining. For some, abstaining from sex can lead to feelings of loneliness, frustration, or even depression. If you find that your emotional well-being is suffering as a result of abstinence, it might help to talk to a therapist or counselor. A professional can help you explore your feelings, cope with emotional challenges, and provide strategies for maintaining balance in your life. When returning to sex is physically or emotionally challenging. If you're returning to sexual activity after a long period of abstinence and are experiencing physical discomfort, performance anxiety, or emotional difficulties, a healthcare provider or sex therapist can provide valuable support. They can help you navigate any physical issues, such as pain during sex, or address emotional concerns, such as anxiety or fear of intimacy. For couples, couples therapy. For couples who are practicing abstinence or transitioning back to sex after a long period, couples therapy can be incredibly beneficial. A trained therapist can help facilitate open communication, resolve any underlying issues, and strengthen emotional bonds. Therapy can be especially helpful if one partner is struggling with the idea of abstinence, or if there are concerns about intimacy upon resuming sexual activity. At the end of the day, every individual and every relationship is different. Whether you're choosing abstinence for personal reasons or returning to sex after a long break, it's important to remember that your sexual health is just one part of your overall well-being. Be kind to yourself, communicate openly with your partner, and seek support when needed. Your journey is unique, and it's perfectly okay to take things at your own pace. Remember, sexual health is about more than just physical activity. It's about emotional, mental, and relational health too. Whether you're sexually active or practicing abstinence, maintaining a balanced, respectful, and healthy approach to your sexuality is key to living a fulfilling life.